Let's go back to the top of this to just keep all this in our minds as we keep going through it, because this is one of the more complicated sections, staging-wise.
Morning, buddies. Mighty nice fall day. Damn, what a sorry-looking bunch.
Well, we're doing One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which of course is an American classic and a piece everybody knows in some way or another. It's exciting for us to get to interpret this piece for our audience.
Boys, this is Candy Star.
Hi, everyone. How's every little thing? Hey, Pop. What they got you in for?
McMurphy comes into this room, this ward, and takes these men under his wing and empowers them and makes them feel loved and important.
We got lots of time, lots of games.
And I think at the end of the day, that's what every human being wants.
Our Miss Ratched is the kindest, the sweetest, the most benevolent woman that I have ever.
I think in our surroundings, the way that we're presenting this is going to be very unique, and I think it's going to be very powerful. And I think by the end of the play, the audience, they're just going to be devastated. I mean, I think they're going to be devastated in a good way, in a West Side Story kind of way, where you're crying, but you're uplifted and you're so glad you came. And it's going to be one of those kind of experiences, I think, for the audience.
So there'll be people sitting here, and but just be careful of the people, because you might still have to kind of like push them over to get the door open.
Sandy, baby!
We're doing this piece in a style that we call immersive or environmental. So we remove all of the audience seating from the theater, and the audience sits inside the set. So the entire space becomes the set for the play, and the play sort of happens around them.
This show in particular is just a monster of a build, and we're always doing it in like a really short period of time. Eric asked me if we could make a portion of the stage lift up out of the center.
That's right. That's the ticket. That's the way you keep in balance.
As soon as it gets dark tonight, I'm gonna set fire to my mattress. And then we're gonna cause a holler, right? And then when the firemen show up, they're gonna leave the front door open, right? And then we're gonna whisk you right out.
And it's not theater in the round so much as it's like theater in the midst, you know? Because people are gonna be this close to everybody.
Yo, stay back.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I just wanna...
Come on!
It's gonna be unsettling, but in a really good way. In a way that takes people out of their normal expectations going to the theater. If I wasn't in it, I'd love to see it like that.
Mr. McMurphy.
Howdy, ma'am.
I'll take that. Hey, Williams tells me you're being difficult.
I think most people come in understanding McMurphy and where McMurphy's coming from, and I think our production is going to show them where Nurse Ratched's coming from in a way that maybe they don't entirely expect.
If you don't mind, boys, I don't think it wise to group up and stand around like that. Mean old Monday morning, you know, such a lot to get done.
Yeah, Miss Ratched.
That's fine, boys.
She's absolutely dedicated to these men, and her life is here on this ward, and it really is who she is and everything that she focuses on.
Well, that's quite amusing, Mr. McMurphy. But you must realize that our policies are engineered for your cure, which means cooperation.
It's making a difference in these men's lives, being their anchor and guiding them back toward a place of independence and mental health so they can walk out the doors. That's what she works toward.
And you promise not to try it again.
Tries to get them up and running and moving and thinking and doing and going toward a goal of betterment.
I appreciate where you've taken it upon yourself to orient all the other patients. But everything in its own time. You must follow the rules.
You know, ma'am, that is the exact thing somebody always says to me about the rules. Right where I'm thinking about breaking every one.
Really, these two characters, McMurphy and the nurse, are battling for the hearts and minds of the patients on the ward.
So that's how you work this democratic crappy things I've heard.
I think it shows the faults, a conjoined group of faults that everyone has. Every single person has a bit of each character in them. You got the self-conscious.
You tell this young upstart McMurphy that I'll meet him in the main hall at high noon.
You got the maniacal.
Doc, do I look like a sane man?
Well, you got the people that are always on edge.
Careful!
Oh. What's that you're making?
A bomb.
He says disturbed in the shock shop probably more than anybody in the play.
You can't send him to disturb just for bringing up a phone.
That's right.
Why does he have that fear? Because he's been sent there one too many times.
What's that?
Conducted.
Anoint this my head with conducted.
I'm struck at just how marvelously these characters are delineated.
I ain't supposed to let this key off this ring.
Hear me? Open the window, wait.
That better be some good liquor.
Who's the bull goose loony?
It's not me, mister. I'm not the bull goose loony. Although you could say I'm next in line for the job.
It's about kindness. It's about trying to understand people. It's about helping people. It's about understanding that everybody has their own history. It's about understanding that everybody has their own voice and their own place in the world.
We operate on the principle of the therapeutic community.
Which
Therapeutic community. That means that this ward is society in miniature. And since society decides who is sane and who isn't, you must figure out.
Listen. The way they yell each time they spear a fish.
How
come, Papa? What's making it come back?
Well, you know, as an actor, it's a pretty, I use the term loosely here, but it's a pretty meaty part. There's a lot of meat on the bones there for this guy.
The friendship that starts to develop between Chief and McMurphy is really, it's a tearjerker. And I've been watching it all the way through, you know, and the last scene is just killer.
They got the wires on me and they're giving orders. Go right, go left, do this, do that. Sign the papers 20 times and don't step on the grass. Where can I run? How can I get away? Papa, there's no place to hide no more. No place to hide.
I've done at least 4 productions of this in the past, all over the country. Different casts, different directors, everything, each time. And I'm discovering things and learning things that had never dawned on me before, or any director who was, you know, directing the shows that we were doing.
Because I think there's some beauty in this, in the chant and stuff, so if that remains pristine for a while and there's this sort of awe that you have for seeing into that world, and then it's like, oh, let's join in, and then it turns into something else.
I love Eric's direction. He's a fun director. He's not one of those directors like, okay, this is what I see and this is how it is. He likes to give multiple things back and forth and bounce ideas.
Hey, where's the party?
In there.
Oh, boy.
Why do I send him to the latrine? Just to get him out of here? Okay.
That's the party. Yeah. And you see how long he hangs out in there. They pick on poor Martini.
Enemy ground! Enemy sighted at 3 o'clock! Enemy playing at 3 o'clock! Nobody there! Don't you see them? Don't you see them? Knock it off! I tell you, there's no one there! Stop! There's nobody there. I thought I seen them.
Work with freeFall and Eric directing this. That has been super exciting and just a treat.
First imaginary person over here, and then deal in the second imaginary person over here.
Gotcha. It's difficult to call it coming to work because it's such a pleasure.
Oh. Good morning, Miss Ratched. I'm sorry I'm late, but I went to midnight mass and then I overslept. It started. Wait.
Murphy opens her eyes to the fact that maybe Nurse Ratched isn't all right, and so she starts forming opinions throughout the show about maybe doing things differently on the ward and not obeying Nurse Ratched and the Combine quite as much.
You know, you girls ought to laugh it up a little bit.
What I think that is so applicable about this play right now is when McMurphy comes in and he becomes a leader and he sees what they're not seeing about their own situation, it brings them all together. In loving him and being led by him, they get closer and they become more unified, and then they play basketball together in their underwear, and then they create cocktail parties, and they get turned on by hot floozies that come flying through the window.
You damn McMurphy!
That's a big-ass question to start off with. Who is he? Well, he's the wild man. He is nature. He's chaos.
Let me look on my new home, will you? What the hell?
He's humor.
You were supposed to get the fixtures clean.
Well, ma'am, they may not be clean enough for some people, but me, I'm planning to piss in them, not eat lunch out of them.
He's the untamed masculine.
You tell Bull Goose Looney Harding that R.P. McMurphy is waiting for him, and if he meets me man to man, or he's a yellow skunk, and he better be out of this town by sunset.
This is a play that takes place in a scenario that's been sterilized, industrialized, the Combine. And he's constantly talking about being emasculated, literally being castrated, and trying to get these guys to stand up for themselves.
I just want to see once and for all which of these birds has any guts and which hasn't.
He's not prepared for how deeply enmeshed they are in the Combine and how accepting they are of her power and how pilled out they are and how part of the system they're letting themselves be. But when they start to join him and rise up against the nurse and against the Combine, he gets his respect for them, and he loves them, and it's fun because he's also seeing them laugh for the first time in many, many years, and they have a good time.
Being in this play, I feel like I've noticed the notion of who really is crazy. Is it the patients or is it the staff?
That's a good little nigga.
And I think the audience is gonna feel that kind of push and pull of who to side with.
Don't you believe me?
Lady, we think you are full of bull.
There may be something wrong with them, but there might not be. So it's pretty fascinating to see that aspect of it. Like who says who's crazy and who says who's not crazy. And
Medication. All patients to the day room. Medication.
It's all at once a depressing tale, and it's also an empowering tale. It's never too late to change and to sort of free yourself from whatever is holding you back.
Going wholeheartedly with McMurphy ultimately, which pushes the nurse into sort of a corner, and she reacts the way, you know, people or governments or animals do when they're backed into a corner, and she uses her secret weapon. I'm not sure who wins at the end, and I think that ambiguity to the end of the piece is one of its strengths, that there's sort of a sense that in a way everyone's won something, and in doing so everyone has lost something.
The old children drawing. My grandmama taught me.
Oh, Lord, yes, yeah, I remember. You play with your fingers. Wire, briar, limber, lock. 3 geese in a flock. One flew east, one flew west, one flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Oh.
You, smells,
out,
goose,
swoosh,
down,
and
plucks.